pretty much everyone in the band had parents that were split.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, where did the music come in? How did that get into your life if all this turmoil is going on?
Well, that was kind of like the only friend I had. That was the thing that, wouldn't leave me, wouldn't talk back, or wouldn't judge me or any of that stuff.
Well, you didn't have, like in high school, you didn't have a lot of chicks. There was a lot of alienation. So were you the guy who would go to his bedroom and, like, put on records and just sit there and play air guitar?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then you started, like, trying to play the real guitar.
Yeah. And the kids at school, I did not identify with them at all. There were certainly a few friends that I had, but once I moved, after my mom died, that was it. I went to a school that was very kind of preppy, and if you weren't on the football team, you weren't anybody. And I'd go to school. There were a couple friends there, but I would just bolt home.
Right.
Go in the room,
play the guitar,
crank.
Did you get guitar lessons? Did anybody pay for those, or you guys were dirt poor, weren't you?
I had some money, after my mom died. I took money and bought like a PA, and I bought stereo stuff,
Good investments.
So you taught yourself?
My mom bought me my first guitar, so she was
an opera singer.
Music.
She was an opera singer, right?
She did light opera, and my brothers were in rock bands, so there was musical instruments all around the house. So they were like my toys growing up.
I got to tell you, when I saw the early years of Metallica, whenever I would see you guys, I figured, man, you were like the angriest son of a bitch. I thought you'd kick my ass right through the TV screen. I mean, really, honest to God. I mean, you were hardcore. No wonder you're so goddamn angry, though, because, not only were you loaded, you're sitting there, you're pissed off, man. Everyone's dead. Everyone's abandoned you. Have you heard from your father? Did you hear from your father at all after your mom died?
No.
Wow.
He tried to enter my sister and my life. I was really pissed. Right. I didn't want anything to do with him. It took a long time, to at least realize that, hey, you've got a parent that's still here. Let's work with this one. And it took a while, but never really resolved all of that stuff.
But did you ever say to him, a dad or whatever you called him? All right, you abandoned us, but then when you heard Mom died, did you ever think, like, maybe check in and give us some dough or help us out a little bit?
Right.
Nothing.
It never really got to that point.
What did he say? But what did he say to you when you talked to him? Like, did he have any excuse?
Well, it wasn't like an excuse. He there's two sides to every story, and I can imagine, what it was like for him. He went through a midlife crisis and took off, and that was exactly what I did not want to repeat. Right. So in a way, I learned from that. The movie shows a lot of us going through some kind of midlife crisis, identity crisis, whatever it is. And I didn't want to bail like my dad did, so I didn't.
Well, hey, you've got to probably want to drink every goddamn day, though, huh?
I don't.
Really?
I don't want to, because I know what it's like. I know what there are still people around that I see me in them, and I don't really enjoy it,
So you're liking being sober better?
Absolutely.
Hey, I got to ask you this. You hear that, Artie? He likes being sober better.
Yeah, well, I guess, he's just become a pussy.
Have another Jack of water, Artie.
True words, right there. One day.
Well,
stay sober, I'm kidding.
There is that kind of thing going on in, like the little murmur is that you've softened up incredibly.
Good.
Well,
what you got to be a hard-ass for?
I'm still pissed off. I know that the anger doesn't rule my life anymore. That's the good part.
Let me ask you this.
Anger, if I could get rid of it, I surely would, but that's just a part of me, and I'm learning to deal with that part, and it's, there's more creative juices flowing than ever, and, the myth about, I was certainly scared that, once you sober up, once this, you get all soft and blah, blah, the creative stuff will go away. I was afraid to pick up the guitar once I got out.
Right.
But, man, we're on the road now, enjoying the moment as good as we can, and we're creating stuff that is amazing.
I saw that show where you guys had the orchestra with you.
Yeah.
It was one of the best. I said on the air, it was one of the best concerts I've ever seen in my life.
That was pre-sobriety.
Yeah, that was pre-sobriety. But as a matter of fact, that dude who used to be a bass player was going berserk during that. He was like fighting with guys in the audience. I said, this is a three-ring circus. And then my friend got up on stage and started mooning people.
Oh, my.
It was like the greatest night ever. But you know what I heard about you? I heard you grew up a Christian Scientist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that, like, it was so screwed up. I don't think you're a Christian Scientist anymore, are you?
There are parts that I understand. And, it's really interesting. I'm glad you brought that up, because the things that are put in front of you as a child, you rebel against. And then at the end of the day, you see some of the good stuff that was there.
But that's the religion where, you don't believe in
don't get any
doctors
help.
and stuff.
Yeah.
So, like you said, there was like a little girl would break her arm, and then they'd let it heal on its own. She'd be walking around with it all weirded out,
Yes.
with like freaked out alien arm.
Yeah.
Very, very cultish, actually, And I could not identify with that at all. And I saw it's a very adult concept, your mind healing you or allowing God to do that. And as a kid, I'm but Dad, I hurt.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
what do I do with this?
Yeah.
All right. Now, what about now the angriest moment I read about you, because you were the angriest man? You poured hot oil on your sister.
That was. It sounds, something it's like out of a Monty Python movie, but no, it was. We would fight big time, and we took it out on each other a lot. What was going on in the family, and I used to just scare her all the time, and I popped up behind the counter when she was cooking something in it, and it shocked her, and she poured oil on herself.
Oh.
But,
So it wasn't
like
as
that
cool.
would happen.
It wasn't as
like
cool
brothers
as...
and sisters. You'd fight, and then when something like that would happen, you'd get closer. You'd help her out and all of that stuff.
Well, I understand only because I cut off my sister's foot. I don't know if you know that about me.
Well, she was
That's
holding
cool.
a knife, and you scared her, and she cut off her own.
No,
foot.
she deserved it. But, so seriously, for you to stop drinking, be faithful to your wife, has got to be a tough thing, because, hey,
You're out on the road.
A, you're on the road, B, you're the lead singer in a hugely
band,
successful band. The amount of poontang I guess you had
Forget it.
during the drinking years is
Do you
staggering.
even remember?
Do you remember half the poontang you had?
Poontang.
Yes, that's right,
Turn
poontang.
into Ted Nugent. Yeah.
Well, what am I going to say? I got the FCC up my ass.
Oh, I got you.
You know what I'm saying.
That was another part of my life, and that was one of those things I had to go through, and that was exactly the same thing, as alcohol or rage or depression, whatever was filling that hole.
You don't miss
felt
it?
incomplete. And you're always searching for the next best thing. Always
Right.
the next thing's going to be better, and it never is.
It's insatiable. But
How did your wife survive all of this?
You know what? She's the strongest woman I know, and you know what? It's really I found my soulmate somehow. And
Where'd you
very
meet her?
grateful for that. She's really kind of the opposite of my mom. My mom was somewhat codependent and felt weak to me, and I always was searching for a strong woman. I found one, and man, she has put up with so much crap. It's
How'd you meet her?
unbelievable.
how'd you meet your wife?
She was on the road. She was working for the band. She was helping out with the wardrobe. She was helping out with the food, and we slowly became friends.
So when
it
you
wasn't
say-
like one of the normal. I knew she was special, so I didn't want to ruin it.
So when you say she's special and a strong woman, does that also mean like she resisted your advances, like she just didn't go to bed with you the first night?
That's part of it.
Yeah.
Didn't really care about the music,
Mhm.
which is tough to find out there on the road. And she just felt there was an aura about her. She was independent. She was.
What does that mean, independent? What does she do to be what do you mean she's independent?
Well, she wasn't relying on me. She wasn't relying on the party kind of thing. She didn't really kind of fall into all of that stuff that a lot of the crew was doing as well.
She had a mind of her own and she had a life of her own, so you didn't feel like you had to entertain her every minute.
Basically.
Oh,
Yeah.
good. All right, I get that.
But you also had to compete for her attention.
Yeah, and that's always a good thing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's that, wow, she's got something that I like and I need, so I'm going to go for it,
James Hetfield is in Metallica, Some Kind of Monster, in theaters now. For more information or theater listings, you can go to somekindofmonster.com.